Once upon a time, in a small village, there lived an old man. This man was poor. He didn't own much, but he had something truly special, a beautiful white horse. Now this wasn't just any horse. It was rare and lovely, something the whole village admired. The old man loved his horse deeply, as if it were part of his family. One day the king of the land saw the horse and wanted it for himself. So he sent his minister to visit the old man. The minister arrived with a big offer, a lot of money to buy the horse. But the old man gently shook his head and said,
"This horse is not just an animal to me. It's my friend, my companion. You wouldn't sell a friend, would you?"
The minister left, but the villagers thought the old man was foolish. They said,
"You're making a big mistake. You could have sold the horse to the king and become rich. One day, you might lose that horse, and then you'll have nothing."
The old man just smiled and replied,
"All I know is that the horse is in my barn today. Whether keeping him is good or bad, only time will tell."
But soon after, the villagers' warning came true. One morning, the old man went to his barn and found it empty. The horse was gone. News of this spread quickly, and the villagers gathered around him. They said,
"See, we told you. You should have sold the horse. Now he's been stolen. What a great misfortune."
The old man replied calmly,
"All we know is that my horse isn't here. Whether this is good or bad, we don't know yet. Only time will tell."
A few days later, something surprising happened. The horse returned. And it wasn't alone. It had brought a group of wild horses back with it. The villagers gathered again and said,
"You were right, old man. Losing the horse wasn't a misfortune, it was a blessing. Now you have many horses. You're so lucky."
The old man simply smiled and said,
"All I know is that I now have more horses. Whether this is a blessing or a misfortune, we don't know. Only time will tell."
As time passed, the old man's only son began to train the wild horses, but while training one of them, he fell and broke his leg. Once again, the villagers gathered around and shook their heads, saying,
"Your son's injury is such a misfortune. How will you manage without his help?"
The wise old man replied,
"All we know is that my son broke his leg. Whether this is good or bad, we don't know. Only time will tell."
A few weeks later, something unexpected happened. The country went to war, and all the young men in the village were called to join the army. Sadly, many of them didn't return. But the old man's son couldn't go to war because of his broken leg. Once again, the villagers gathered around and said,
"You were lucky after all. Your son's injury turned out to be a blessing, because now he's safe and here with you."
Once again, the old man replied with wisdom,
"All we know is that my son is here. Whether that's a blessing or a misfortune, only time will tell."
The lesson that we should learn from this story is that we often face situations that seem bad or unlucky at first. But later, we may realize they were actually good for us. Just like the old man didn't rush to judge his situation, we can also try to accept things as they are and let time reveal their true meaning. Sometimes, what looks like a loss or disappointment today might turn into a blessing tomorrow. And what we think is a blessing might bring us unexpected challenges. So instead of feeling sad or upset when things don't go our way, we can try to stay calm and wait to see what life has in store. Remember, life is full of surprises, and often, only time can reveal the true meaning behind them.